Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and again let me welcome you to another edition on the SosoBone Media Network, the SosoBone Sports Network. And this afternoon, in continuing our analysis and observation of sports across the globe, as well as in our local marketplace, we bring to you our data analyst extraordinaire, none other than the Honorary Secretary to the First World Cricket Hall of Fame, the Honorable Dale Brown, and host of John Sports Corner. Inductee into the First World Cricket Hall of Fame, none other than the Honorable John Melbourne. So let me say again, welcome, and turn our program over to our sports enthusiasts, spectators, and experts extraordinaire. Over to you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Professor. And I'm happy to be here, as I'm sure John is. John, greet our viewers, please.
Yes, sorry, Neil. I am happy to be here to review our Cricket West Indies Championship that bowls off on Sunday. And we'll just kind of give our thoughts on what led up to the final now between the Guyana Harpy Eagles and the Trinidad Tobago team. And, hopefully you will enjoy and some food for thought that we will present you over the next few minutes.
Yes, thank you, John. And as you point out, we'll just do a short review and then a preview. The review is of the playoffs that took place between Trinidad and Tobago Red Force and the Barbados Pride. And that, of course, Trinidad prevailed in that game, and Guyana was sitting there waiting for them for the finals, which, as you point out, will begin on Sunday, May 17th. John, the road, we know we have a problem with the format of the competition, where we had the 3 bilateral series. Guyana, obviously, by virtue of their 3-0 scoreline over Windward Islands, and not having to really play a semi-final to get to the final, what do you think we have to look out for with the Guyanese team in this final here now?
In terms of performance, I think we're looking for first of all, an opening batsman or opening batsmen. And I have, other than maybe John Campbell so far, I haven't really seen any of our openers. Well, I shouldn't say that, because Tajna and Shandapal seem to be rejuvenated and has actually played some decent innings, including 1 century. And but I think we're looking for openers. And I don't know if it's fair to say that the other opening spot will be John Campbell. As opposed to when we had Shanda Paul and Craig Brathwaite, 2 similar kind of batsmen who allowed bowlers to dominate them. I don't think that would happen when you have John Campbell at the other end as an opener now. I don't think bowlers will dominate him. But my only issue now with John Campbell has only played 3 proper games, if you want to put it that way, because of Cricket West Indies, I guess, scheduling and not providing playing opportunities for our leading cricketers. And I continue to believe that is what even stifled Craig Brathwaite's career, that he played 2 or 3 test matches and he didn't play again until several months it for another 1 or 2 test matches. And then he was not selected to play white ball cricket, where he probably could have continued to develop his batting skills. So, as we talk about development and we look to our youngsters going back to maybe primary schools, high schools, we also have to look at the development of our senior players and what happens to them when they get to the senior level. How much cricket are they playing? What kind of competitive cricket are they playing? Now, I look at the game coming up on Sunday, the final, and it was probably the 2 best teams right now in the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana. Trinidad and Tobago have their mixture, fast bowling and spinners. So too Guyana. And so, I think they will test the opposing batsmen because of the variety that they will present during hopefully the games go 4 days. That we see 4 days of cricket. I don't know if we're going to see the heavy scoring that we saw in Jamaica, but I think, as I say, between the fast bowlers and the spinners from on both teams, the batting is going to be tested. But then again, with the game on Sunday, these guys are going to be playing 5 games before Sri Lanka comes into to play. So we have to find a way to get more our guys playing more cricket and more inter island cricket, if you want to put it that way, when they don't have international duty. Yeah.
Okay, so Guyana had, relatively speaking, an easy road to the final. Do you think it will affect their preparations for the game itself, as opposed to Trinidad, who had 3 games? They only won their bilateral series 1-0, with 1 game drawn and 1 game aborted due to the pitch conditions, and then they were tested against Barbados. Even though the end scoreline is a victory by 140 runs, I believe it was closer than that going into that final inning, and their bowlers rose to the occasion and they won it comfortably in the end. But I think that they were tested. So contrasting the 2 teams, what are your concerns about the Guyanese preparation as opposed to the Trinidadian preparation?
I think with Guyana could come down to their middle order. How well does the Kevin Imlach, Kimo Paul, and who is the other one? I mean, even Gudakesh Moti can score runs. So, so if you look at their top order with Shanda Paul and what is his name? Nandu and Kevlin Anderson. You get by those guys, how well do their middle order respond or prop up the innings? And I think Guyana overall, I think Guyana has a better 11 going on the field than do, although Trinidad and Tobago have Jaden Seals and what's his name, Philip, the 2 fast bowlers with Kari Pierre, but I think overall Guyana's batting might be a little deeper than Trinidad and Tobago's batting. And in saying that, Jason Mohammed has not really given us. I think he gave us 1 good inning so far in this series, and he probably could show up Finals for me, whether it's cricket or football, finals, any sport final, the champions show up. And I think we will see who the champions are that will show up in these finals. Because you look back at the Barbados team, Kevin Wickham scored 3 centuries in a row. But he didn't pass 20 in the next, 3 or 4 innings. Including the semi-final. So the champions will show up. But I think Guyana do have a better batting lineup. And I am looking for, as I mentioned, Kemo Paul, Kevin Imlach to show up in the final.
Okay. And for Trinidad, who would you expect as batsmen to show up? Championship.
Well, Irvin Lewis has not really done, and Jed Gooley, actually. And Django. I think those are the 3 I would look to. Joshua De Silva, of course, he has a double century in one of his innings. And I think he's the second leading scorer in the series so far. And he has been scoring. I think he's a little bit more consistent as a batsman. Maybe he's fighting for to regain his spot now with the West Indies team. And those are the guys. Evan Lewis, Jed Gooley, Amir Django. I think that is where Trinidad Tobago batting will and the captain Joshua De Silva. That is where the runs I think will come from in the final.
Okay.
But as I say, with they do have the bowling, Dale. They do have the bowling with Anderson Phillip and Jaden Seals and Brian Charles and Harry Pierre. They do have some bowling there.
Yes. Leadership. Leadership is essential. And I think that we have 2 good captains going up against each other tactically. Mm-hmm. And of the 2, we know that Guyana have won the last so many championships. But if you look at the semi-final against Barbados, Trinidad did something where they elected to bat first. They won the toss and elected to bat first. Mm-hmm. Clearly believing that whatever total was set in the second inning for Barbados to go at, they were confident that their bowling attack could prevail.
Yeah.
And not just their bowling attack, but the captain entrusted the ball in the hands of his 2 spin bowlers. Yes. One, the off spinner, Brian Charles, and the other, Harry Pierre, the left-hander. Mm-hmm. And they did the bulk of the bowling and, of course, rewarded with all of those wickets.
Yeah.
Any comments on that, John?
Yeah. Yeah, but the Harry Pierre, as I said, the matchup, I think it's the 2 best teams in terms of depth and what's the word I'm looking for? And a spread of pace and spin, good fast bowling, good spinners. And I think on the day, Gudakesh Moti could be really the difference, because so far he has taken 26 wickets in the series. He has taken the most wickets so far in the series. Mm-hmm. And he could really be the difference, in the series.
Okay, so the thing now, just putting questions out there. Trinidad, you mentioned Evan Lewis, but then Cooper had not done anything prior to the semi-final playoffs. And lo and behold, he comes very good. Matter of fact, Trinidad owes him a lot, because his 93 in the first inning was crucial, and then his century in the second inning was even more crucial. And so
Cephas.
Cephas Cooper.
Yeah.
Not a big bat by any stretch, but as you point out, champions rise to the occasion.
Yes.
And Da Silva in the first inning also had a crucial stand when he made that 70. The one other player in Trinidad I would like for you to mention your thoughts on him. Is a gentleman by the name, is the equivalent of Kemo Paul in the Guyanese team. You mentioned Kemo Paul, but Terence Hines. For Trinidad, is one of those type of cricketers that seem to be always in the game, make runs when it's needed, and he comes in at number 7 usually, and he is the fifth bowler. He's the first change most of the time after the two pacers bowl, and he's dangerous. Your thoughts on Terence Hines?
Well, I think Dale, on both teams, 5, 6, 7. For me, 5, 6, 7 could determine the outcome of the series. And Terence Hines comes in at 7, and I guess Kemo Paul kind of in the same role too.
Yes.
So, boy, Dale, I can't call this one.
Well,
because I think they are two evenly balanced teams. And it could just come down to I don't want to call it a bad decision or maybe a great catch that determines the series.
Yes.
Yeah. Or a player who shows up unexpectedly and does something spectacular, memorable for the first time in his career. Yeah, that kind of thing. But I think that both teams are evenly balanced, and for me, it's difficult to say who will win this series. Although I think Guyana has more balance than Trinidad Tobago does.
Okay. So in the playoff round, we know Guyana played a practice game.
Yeah.
And of course Trinidad. And I just want to bring out a few players to you and your thoughts on them, because I think given their age and development, because you mentioned development before, and I'll start off with Rivaldo Clark, who played for the West Indies.
He got 108 in that first innings.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, he, of course, was a West Indies under-19 player. And he's only 23 years old right now. So it's good to see him coming to the fore and really having us, call out his name for an outstanding performance, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And there was another player in that who scored 123. Was it Nathan Edward? Was it Edward?
It was Goodrich.
Goodrich, yeah.
Now, the only thing with Goodrich is that he bats at around number 8. He's primarily a bowler.
Yeah.
So let's see where he goes.
Yeah, and this is one of the, I think, drawbacks now with our West Indies team, is that our when you look at the other international teams, many of the bowlers can give you some runs. But it's as if we don't expect our bowlers to be able to go out there and score runs for us, especially where we need, when the top order has failed and we need some runs on the board. But I think it is good to see a bowler coming to the wicket and putting runs on the board. You probably put him in the role now of an all-rounder. It might be a bowling all-rounder, but who can bat? And we need those kind of, I think, those kind of players in our setup now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other player I mentioned is Zaishan Motara.
Motara.
Yeah, the leg break bowler.
Yeah.
Again, he's only 19 years old. By the way, Goodrich and Clark are from Barbados,
Mm-hmm.
as is Motara. He's also from Barbados. He doesn't turn the ball much at all. He's kind of would put you more in the line of
Line and length.
yes, more like a Anil Kumble,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
that kind of a bowler.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of runs were made off him. But again, it was his stick to it nerves that impressed people. He kept on plugging away, and he seems to be relatively accurate. And he's only 19, so I think that's a good person for us to keep an eye on going forward.
And it's interesting that Cricket West Indies named a squad to prepare now for the upcoming white ball series to start. Going into a training camp. And we mentioned Rivaldo Clark. I think Rivaldo Clark should be a part of that squad.
Okay.
We seem not to. I mean, they've called the youngster Vitel Laws to that squad. But I seem to feel that when we have a youngster who seem to have the talent, we wait, we don't push them into the senior setup early enough. And for some reason, a lot of them just eventually just fall by the wayside.
Right. Now, no, that's a good point. I'll also now ask you about Matthew Nandu, the other left-handed opener from Guyana. Again, only 22 years old, and he played for the West Indies under 19, a former captain, matter of fact. Interesting thing about him is that he's born in Canada. He's Canadian born.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, big century. And I don't know if you got to see any of his innings, but he has also announced himself, and I'm sure persons will be looking, they will be on the lookout for him. He's somewhat similar to Shanda Paul, his senior partner, in batting style. Not very aggressive, lots of concentration, and now a double century shows that he loves to bat.
Yeah, but you see, that's it. You don't want those two similar
No.
types at the top of your order.
Right. Well, they are the ones going to set the table for Guyana.
Well, yes,
Yeah,
that is
they're the
true.
ones, and he's in good form. The other
And
Guyanese,
Kevlin Anderson, I kind of that he has scored more runs in this series deal. I was looking for more from him, but you never know, he might show up in the final.
that's true. The other youngster from Guyana that caught the eye again was Jonathan Van Lan.
Van Lange, he scored a century too.
Scored a century also,
Mm-hmm.
and albeit centuries against the academy bowlers, but runs are runs, and you like to see them take advantage. And again, he's only 19 years old. Again, he's Guyanese, and I think these are some of the youngsters that we have to look out for. Another Guyanese, the one youngster that I think really caught the eye in that semi-final is Joshua Bishop from Barbados. And it was really almost heartbreaking to see him end up on 99 not out.
Yeah.
But then his bowling was not so much a revelation, because when he was playing for West Indies under 19, he batted way up in the order, like number 4. So seeing him coming at number 9 and making runs, it's not just a bowler swinging his bat, but he has really progressed very well, and he performed well against Jamaica, of course, and performed well enough that he did much more bowling and was more effective than our test vice captain.
He got the
So
most. He
Warwick,
actually, yeah, he got the most wickets for Barbados, 16.
yes. So
Mm,
um, any impressions of that? And the surprising thing to me was that Warwick did not do as much bowling as we would have thought he would have.
yeah, right. Yeah, true. And that surprised me that
Mhm.
he didn't do a lot of bowling, and I had to wonder why. And he's a Test vice captain.
Yes, yes. And when Chase came in, Chase did more bowling than he did also.
Hmm.
You know,
Because uh and got the same amount of wickets as Warwick did.
playing
Yeah.
one test match.
Yes.
Mhm. So
Oh,
he's a little bit older, but Richie Lucknow also had a good game for Guyana he's very good off break bowling and made some runs,
yeah.
you know. So the thing about it, which I think is beautiful, John, is that when we look at these youngsters, there are names that we can keep looking out for and making sure that our viewers and the cricket fans they are aware of these youngsters and to look out for them for continued progress in their development.
And certainly the question is, will they be provided with enough opportunities to be playing top level cricket to help with their development?
That is
And-
correct.
yeah.
You know. So I think here, as you pointed out, we reduced by almost 60% the amount of matches that are being played in this current West Indies season.
Hmm.
And apparently it is because of financial constraints. And that's what that's what they said. That was the explanation.
Hmm.
At the same time, Cricket West Indies is telling us that this is the best way forward to prepare these players, which that's another question right there,
Yeah.
you know. But I would have loved to see Guyana play an actual
Yeah.
semi-final
Yeah.
as opposed to the game that they ended up
Hmm.
playing, you know.
Hmm.
So you wonder about the boat because Moti, I don't know if he was experimenting during that game, but if you just look at him, did not bowl well at all in
Hmm.
that game.
Hmm.
So maybe he was just experimenting with something or whatever. I don't know. You know.
Yep.
So I think, as you say, Trinidad's bowling up against Guyanese batting.
Yeah.
It will be very interesting to see what happens there. Trinidad has the two pace bowlers, the medium pacer to back them up. And the
Hmm.
less heralded Brian Charles, along with the veteran Kari Pierre,
Pierre.
a good West Indies competition bowler at the very least. He's as
Hmm.
dangerous as they come when he come on to our competitions. Yeah.
Tell you, maybe we can go to a quick break, Bill, and come back.
Okay, sure.
Yes. I need to check out a Formula One situation.